This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Stefanie LaHart. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I am doing very well. We're having a little bit of rain in LA right now, so it's been a nice change for us. It kind of makes you switch up your whole schedule.
Well, that is interesting. When I was there, it didn't rain at all, and the traffic was terrible. Do you get traffic when it's raining?
Oh, no. The beauty of the rain is that nobody drives.
Ooh, well, it should rain.
Yes.
Rain on.
So that's a secret for anyone out there. If they want to come to LA, definitely if it's raining, this is a good time to visit. There's nobody on the road right now.
Oh, there we go. Well, Stefanie, please do tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history.
Well, I think it would have to be one of my favorite talents, and that would be my gift for gab. And I think that led us to this introduction. Or maybe rather it was my podcast specifically, because I entered the world of podcasting last year. I started the TraDigital Talk Podcast with my best friend Sharon Newt. And in the show, together we explore the crossroads between traditional PR meeting new digital marketing.
Ooh, sounds like fun. Sounds like a fun conversation. Now, do you invite guests from time to time, or do you two hack it out?
It's us two just hacking it out. It's a conversation. We have been friends for over 20 years, so we have a lot to talk about just in general. But see, she does come from she's in marketing as well, but as you can tell from the title of the podcast, she's in traditional PR, and I'm the new media digital girl. So we teach each other stuff all the time. It's been really fun.
Well, it sounds like fun. So who did you learn that skill from, that ability to help others learn through simple conversations?
Well, specifically the podcasting world, I was introduced to last year when I attended a convention called Podfest Multimedia Expo. And the reason I was there was because I was working with a new client named Josh Elledge, and he's really big in the podcasting world. And he brought me to the convention because he was doing some work. He needed some help with marketing, specifically social media marketing. So I was there supporting him. And I met all of these great podcasting people. And it was specifically Josh that was like, hey, podcasting would be a really great way for you to market your business. You should think about doing something like that. And it honestly was not something that was ever on my radar before. I mean, I was not one of those people that was a huge podcast listener. Like I knew about podcasts, but it just wasn't something that I was into. And then suddenly I was introduced to this whole world and met all these great people and started listening to podcasts. And I'm like, hey, this is really fun. And I found it so funny that podcasting, which is just this verbal medium, was surpassing video so quickly. Because a year before that, all anybody was saying was, oh, you have to do video. And now it's all about the conversation. And I love that.
I love it as well. And you did go to an amazing event. And Chris Krimitsos, big up to him. They put up an amazing opportunity of connections and networking. It's like family when you're there, isn't it?
It really is. And let me tell you something. Actually, Josh was right. It did help my business pretty much immediately because I was introduced to the guys. I was introduced to Chris and John. And I was checking out their social media one day, and it just seemed to me like they needed a little help. So I messaged them and just, told them who I was and said, hey, I do social media marketing. Let me help you guys out. Just, let me jump in there and give you a little push. And they were like, great. So I literally just volunteered my time and my skills. And it worked out really well, and I got invited as a speaker because of it. And then they even hired me to actually run their social media this year.
Oh, that's amazing. So, well done.
Yeah, just reaching out and giving them some free time, like volunteering my services, like actually turned into a client. So, I mean, I'm telling you, this podcasting thing is working out for me already.
Well, there we go. There's your endorsement, podcasters, or even wannabe podcasters. I mean, it's really an amazing world, the podcast world. Well, do tell us, where can we reach you if we are interested in getting your help as well?
So my podcast is, if you want to check out our website, that is the TraDigitalPodcast.com. So the word tra, T-R-A-D, digitalpodcast.com, and that's where our podcast is. And then if you want to go directly to my company, that's Boomtown Marketing. So I'm pretty easy to search. Like if you have my name and you do a search on me, I'm very easily to be found. I've really put myself out there.
Well, do tell us one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
You know, here's the funny thing. Doesn't have to do with marketing, but all about consistency. So what I've been doing for the past 3 years consistently is training for marathons. I actually ran my first marathon in 2009, and I'm currently training for my 21st marathon.
Ooh, how does that make you feel?
Let me tell you something. Running was something that I came to later in my life. It was not something that I did through school, but it has opened up this whole world for me. And every day I literally thank the universe for helping me to discover my love of running, because it's become my way of meditating, my workout, my therapy. It's all rolled into one. I mean, I figure out everything when I'm running. I don't listen to music or anything. It's just me and my thoughts, and it's been an amazing journey.
Suggest to someone out there why they should start as soon as possible, at least finding a way that their minds can assimilate the thoughts that they're processing. If it be by running or some other way, why should someone do that?
Well, you know, I could say to somebody, hey, you should start running or try running, but running is a loaded word for a lot of people. Some people will immediately be like, no, that's horrible. I've tried it. I can't do it. They'll give you a whole, list of reasons why they can't run or some reason. So what I would really suggest to people instead is, you know what? Find something that you love, that you don't need any kind of motivation or someone else to push you or even a schedule to really do it, like, a list of chores. Just you love it so much that it's just something that you look forward to doing. And for me, that also means being an entrepreneur, because being an entrepreneur has allowed me to have freedom in work and life that I just didn't experience when I was growing up. Because when I was growing up, everyone that I knew in my neighborhood, in general, everybody had a 9-to-5 job. And they just clocked into this every day, whether they liked it or not. And their biggest goal, the thing they looked forward to, eventually retirement. Like just, going through those hours so that at some rate they could just retire and never have to do that job anymore. And you know what? Honestly, I will never retire because I love my life and my work. And I have so many things that I want to do. Take one, for example, just in the last year, I started writing a fiction novel. That just kind of came out of the blue. But I have the time, because that I am an entrepreneur and I run my own business, that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be a writer too. I'm gonna make that part of my life and my day. And, your dreams are limitless. They really are. You're the first person that will stop you. Nobody else is going to stop you. And that's just something, if it's going to be running, if it's going to be being an entrepreneur, if it's going to be writing a book, don't let anyone stop you.
Love it. Again, amazing audience. You're hearing it live here from Stefanie LaHart. Stephanie, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Stephanie, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Well, I don't have one specific memory, but I have a vibe of my childhood, because I grew up on the East Coast, and I grew up in a neighborhood that had a lot of children around my age. And honestly, I just remember us playing outside every day. And I just remember, physical games and kind of like imaginary games. Just we were always playing, and I loved playing. And I remember I would get so bummed out when my mom would call us in for dinner, because I'm like, no, we want to play more. And that's just the whole vibe of my childhood. I really did have one of those childhoods where we literally were outside from the time the sun came up to the sun came down. And, I think it really inspired in me that love to play and make believe and create things. So I think I had a pretty magical experience there. And I wasn't living out in the country. I was living in the city. So it's, you can find that joy anywhere. It wasn't like I was kid. There's like, oh, we were running around the hillside. No, I was in a city, but we still were outside.
And if we fast forwarded to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Well, I'm a child of the 80s, so around 12, it was quite possibly Pac-Man Fever.
Sweet.
Because we were all playing video games, so I'm sure it was something like Pac-Man Fever.
Oh, there we go. All right, Stephanie. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Stephanie?
I'm ready.
Stephanie, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I have quite a few girls that I mentor on a regular basis.
Are you married?
I'm not.
Do you have children?
Not yet.
Do you believe in God?
I believe in inner spirituality.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Absolutely.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Definitely 3 hours a week, yeah.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Ooh, that's a hard question. I feel like I'm always looking at a screen.
Oh, all right. Stephanie, if you had to share with us your own unique, real statement, a statement that represents Stefanie LaHart, what would you say that is?
Oh, that's easy. That would have to be laugh more, worry less. Because you know what? Your life is supposed to be fun, and you can find your joy anywhere. So you don't have to have the perfect circumstance or the perfect environment or the perfect job or the perfect relationship. It's up to you to find your joy. So you know what? Laugh more, worry less. In the end, the things that you're stressing about today, you're going to look back and be like, yeah, I didn't really need to worry about that. And honestly, life is short.
Definitely so. Love it. Stefanie LaHart, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I do. I want to invite people to try something that's been, kind of floating around in their mind, but they stop themselves because they have that inner critic saying, you can't or you shouldn't or who do you think you are? That who do you think you are phrase just can stop us from so much. And you know what? Just go for it. Go out there. Very few things in life are actually going to kill you. It's actually pretty hard to die. So just try it, just try it and do it and make yourself laugh. And if you mess up when you're doing it, laugh and try something else. It's just not that serious.
Love it. Stefanie LaHart, again, great pleasure, my friend. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.